Yo, yo, yo. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn on the bell for our notifications. Watch us on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, etc., etc. Phillies are on a win streak. We're going to the World Series.
Let's go! This ain't the box like he forces dick and he stinks!
Oh, shit!
It's gone!
Welcome into another edition of the Flight Zone, only here on A2D Radio. Brought to you by FanUp. FanUp is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NBA contests, and more. Check out those finals. These finals are loaded with star power. You got Jason Tatum, you got Jaylen Brown, you got Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. You have all these guys. So make sure you check out FanUp, enter in a lineup, win great prizes. Sign up today. Use the promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points, which is the equivalent to a $50 value. That is fanup.app. We have a lot to discuss tonight, even though there's not many sports on. Phillies are off. NBA Finals coming back. I think Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Wednesday. They get 2 days off, and I'm really confused as to why they play basketball. I mean, these hockey players are going 5,000 miles per hour. They get 1 day rest, but that's besides the point. They do have hockey tonight, I believe. Edmonton and Colorado. Colorado's trying to close that out, so check them out if you want. But here on the Flight Zone today, we are going to be discussing Phillies. We're going to be discussing Phillies. We're going to be discussing the turnaround since Joe's been fired, which we've been pleading for here on the Flight Zone for months now. Bryce Harper is that guy, and that'll lead us into the poll. But before the poll, we also need to talk about some Eagles front office promotions because I have a fear, Evan. I have a fear that it's Matt Klentak and Andy McPhail all over again, and it's going to happen in this Eagles front office. I'm not saying it's going to happen now or 2 years from now or maybe even 5 years from now, but this young wave of nerds, and there's no other way to put it, they're nerds. And nerds are a good thing. Nerds rule the world. But sports is its own world that we could escape from reality, escape from the nerds that do rule our world. And I would just like to keep the nerds out of sports in general. So we'll talk about the promotions that Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie made in the front office late last week. We'll talk about that. But first, let's get to the poll for the night. Brought to you by Araya Public Adjusting. Do you have damage to your home or property? We may be able to help. Don't fight your homeowner's insurance alone. Contact Araya Public Adjusting at 813-564-3364. They're licensed in Florida and Pennsylvania, along with 13 other states. So make sure you check them out if you need it. Poll of the night, maybe a little controversial. May bring Evan and I back to our second ever show here on A2D when we blew up the Twitter universe by saying that the Eagles Super Bowl wasn't worth it because we're going to have 10 years of misery. Hey, not looking so bad. It's so good right now, right? We got the Phillies who are looking hot. Flyers are a dumpster fire. Sixers are a dumpster fire. And then the Eagles, everything's going well, and we'll see what happens with the quarterback. But poll of the night, Bryce Harper is a top 3 athlete in Philadelphia since the start of the century. So since 2000, Bryce Harper is a top 3 athlete of all time. And I'm going to smash the agree button. I mean, Evan and I were talking about all these guys that are top 5 worthy, top 10 worthy in the city of Philadelphia. I mean, you have obviously Allen Iverson, who's a lock, probably number 1, Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
And then from there, you just got a bunch of guys, you know? I mean, Jimmy Rollins won an MVP. Ryan Howard wins an MVP. Was their success going to be as long sustained as Bryce Harper's? I mean, Bryce Harper's on his second MVP right now. He hasn't skipped a beat since last season, and last season was single-handedly one of the best seasons of baseball I've ever seen somebody partake in. And the sole fact that this guy is injured and he can't play, and when he doesn't play, this team looks lifeless. I think it's almost a guaranteed lock that he has to be top 3. I know
Mhm.
originally we had it as the best athlete since the start of the century, but I just don't think anybody can overtake Allen.
Yeah, no.
And then you go to like maybe Brian Dawkins, but Brian Dawkins, it's hard to be the best at that position in the sport.
Mhm.
And then we start talking about Roy Halladay. Roy Halladay had 2 amazing years here in Philadelphia. And
Mhm.
then the collapse happened in 2012 where he just didn't look the same.
Mhm.
So I'm going to go with agree. We can continue to argue and debate this throughout the show tonight. Um, what are you thinking, Evan?
Um, I honestly, I can agree to this just because with I feel like the lack of work he has on the Phillies team or lack of players, I should say. I mean, Phillies have a great roster right now, and that just happened this season. But the thing that ultimately kills this poll, not for me, but for some people I could see, is definitely just the Phillies haven't made the playoffs with Bryce Harper. And I mean, it's hard to blame that on one player, and it definitely isn't on Bryce Harper. The man won MVP and still didn't make the playoffs. I definitely do agree to this poll. I would say that AI is up there. I mean, you could throw many players in there. Joe
Yeah.
Holiday.
I mean, Joe's an interesting one. I don't think Joe's
Yeah,
in the top 5, to be completely
yeah,
honest.
probably not. Yeah, no. And it's really hard to gauge from different sports as well. I mean, was Bryce Harper last season the best player in baseball ultimately out of all like because they have AL,
I mean, I
MVP.
think there's a difference between being the best and being the most valuable. I mean, we see
Yeah,
this with we even say it in the NBA with Joe. Like he may not be the best player on the planet, but he most certainly is the most valuable
yeah,
to a team. I
yeah,
mean, you could just see that through games 5 and 6 where he's
mhm,
moping around the court. Like
yeah.
when he mopes, the team is down, and when
Oh,
Joe's
yeah,
out, the team is out. It's not
yep,
even a fighter's chance in hell.
yeah. So I just think why not? Like, why couldn't it be Bryce? I mean, if
Yeah.
it would be no doubt it'd be Bryce if we have won a World Series with him,
Oh
right?
yeah. Not even a
It would
question.
he would be definitely number 2. He's probably my number 2, but, like, he would be a lock for number 2 and close to AI at number 1, maybe even better than
Yeah.
AI. If we won a championship with Bryce Harper, you could argue he
Argue
is
he's number 1, in my
number 1
opinion.
since 2000. Exactly.
Yeah.
But
And then I think Allen would be 2. And
mhm,
then I think that I mean, I gotta believe that I know we don't have a lot of flyers. Like the Flyers are like the redheaded stepchild, but you gotta throw Claude Giroux in there.
yeah,
The best athlete since the start of the century. I
yeah,
mean, the guy played what, 12 legit seasons?
yeah, and stayed really the best player on the ice at all time.
Yep.
Um, I mean, you could say the last few years, maybe not so, but
Yeah.
just the longevity he had
The
on the Flyers
longevity.
and the consistency. I
Yeah.
mean,
Consistently being a top 5 player in the league for
yeah,
that long stretch of time.
he was
I
he was
mean,
leading the league in points
yep.
for a few seasons.
Yep.
So, I think that's a pretty fair top 3. I mean, they're kinda interchangeable, but
Yeah.
I think
I
Bryce
I,
Harper
st-
really should be.
I still think that Jimmy Rollins, Howard, Utley. I mean, in my opinion, like the fielders, the batters on that team, I think Utley. I'm not Utley. I think Howard and Rollins were 1 and 2, and Utley was a very close 3.
Mhm.
But just for the
Oh,
sole
yeah.
fact that Rollins and Howard win MVP back-to-back seasons,
Mhm.
it just puts them above Utley.
Yeah.
Um, Howard's power was just game changing. I mean, he was always gonna like you look back to that lineup. J. Roll was always gonna be your leadoff hitter.
Mhm.
Howard was always gonna be your cleanup hitter, and Utley
Mhm.
was always gonna be your 3-hole hitter. Like that
Exactly.
was the best 1-2-3 punch in baseball, and it's a
It's
shame that
yeah.
they only got one World Series out of them.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. That's just our luck though, you know?
Yeah. So I think just a rough top 5 would be Iverson,
Mhm.
Bryce. I would think Howard, then Giroux, then Dawkins, and then maybe Rollins, Halladay.
Yeah,
It's
that's
tough.
right.
I mean, there's a
Yeah,
lot of guys from 3 to 10
it
that you could just
it's so
throw all
hard
over the place.
to compare like a player like Bryce Harper who plays offense, defense, and then trying to compare him to Brian Dawkins who just plays defense. Like
Mhm. And did
it's
one thing on defense, and that was just murder people,
yeah,
headhunt
dude,
people.
yeah, dude, yeah, and it's so hard to compare like those four sports all together in one. I think that is a fair top top five though. All
Mhm.
those guys, like you throw Utley in there, Holiday, all those guys, you'd be right,
Yeah.
basically. So
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, like, any other Sixers, but I feel like the only 2 Sixers you could put there are Allen and Joe. And I think
yeah,
Joe's just reaching the top 10.
Andre Iguodala.
Yeah, no. I mean, he was good, but, like, did he ever make it? I mean, I don't wanna
When he
bring up
left
any
Philly,
playoffs because
when he left Philly, he did. He made it.
well, yeah, NBA Finals
He
MVP.
he wa he was, you know what he was? He was what Claude Drew was supposed to be this year for Carolina.
Yeah, no, for Florida.
Florida, I meant,
Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
Drew
what he
had
was
a
supposed to be.
Drew's playoff struggles just continue to haunt him. The ghost of Claude Drew in the playoffs just continue to keep happening. Um, but and we got Pete and Greg chiming in now. But yeah, Drew just seemed to just always come up short in the playoffs, and that continued on in the best team in the league in Florida. I mean, I didn't really watch Florida enough to see if it was totally his fault, but there was definitely some playoff runs since 2010 that
Mhm.
Drew just did not show up in. I think
Yeah,
he had solid games this postseason, but still couldn't make it.
yeah.
So Pete says, I mean, yeah, you still got T.O. T.O. was one season though. That's the only thing that strikes me is I feel like longevity, I feel like time in Philly does matter. And
Mhm,
for the sole fact that Bryce is in his prime, has been in his prime, and is probably going to stay in his prime for the next 4 to 5 years. I think that's a contributing factor to as to why he would be top 3.
mhm.
And that's why T.O. I can't even put T.O. in the top 10 because he was only one season.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if we're basing it off one season, Carson Wentz would be in the top 3, you know?
Yeah. Yep. I mean, Carson Wentz, one of the main reasons why we win the Super Bowl. And everybody knows how much I love Carson. I mean, I don't have the sippy cup today. I just have the normal Eagles cup. But
Alright.
uh
He just got a different wrap on it. It's the same
oh
one,
yeah.
just different
It's I have multiple Eagles Hall of
wrap.
Fame wrap cups.
Green juice. Or it's Carson's juice.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Pete says AITO Young Donovan and Mike Vick. AITO Young. I'm trying to think if there's any Youngs, or is he saying Young Donovan?
Thaddeus Young.
It's definitely not Thaddeus Young. But yeah, I mean, Mike Vick is another one where I wouldn't say Mike Vick was top 3. I definitely think Donovan's going to be above Mike Vick, but
Mhm.
Mike Vick had a nice little few years with us where
Yeah, he did.
he was a top 10 quarterback, definitely, maybe top 5.
Mhm. Yeah.
Greg says he loves Bryce, but man, we've had a lot of good athletes to the city. Until he wins the World Series, I don't know if I could put him top 3. He hasn't been here that long yet to be top 3 based off longevity. And Greg says disagree. Um,
I feel
yeah,
like it's a hard one. It really is because you wanna look at it since a player like Dawkins and Bryce Harper have never won a championship. You look at just like I guess the things they have accomplished, like the MVP. You know what I mean?
hmm
One is won an MVP of the league, the most valuable player of the league,
yep,
whereas Brian Dawkins doesn't have an MVP. But I
yeah.
mean,
He's Hall of
it,
Famer though.
yeah, he
That's
is.
like,
Bryce Harper will be a Hall of Famer.
oh
I
yeah,
mean,
no doubt about it. He'll be a Hall of Famer.
but it's just it's so hard to compare them because
Yeah,
they played two different, absolutely different sports. Same thing with basketball.
I'm just trying to look at Bryce Harper's odds to win MVP. He is number 4 in the NL this year right now. Betts is number 1, Machado's 2, Goldschmidt is 3, and Harper's 4. And Harper's climbing.
Yeah.
I mean, Harper's played significantly less games than the 3 above him. Mookie Betts only had a good May. His April was atrocious, like absolutely atrocious.
Oh yeah.
So Mookie had a great May, and that's what bumped him into the league MVP. And arguably, if they didn't give Bryce that shot the way when they did, and they would have maybe held off a little bit, he would have probably had the same exact May that Mookie did, because Bryce was on that track. And then I remember he was out for, I think, 4 games. And then there was a stretch of another 4 games where he came back and he was just ice cold trying to get back. But since that 8-game stretch, he's been MVP Bryce, MV3. He hasn't been MVO for 3, like you've been saying all year.
Yeah.
He's been MV3.
Finally. Yeah.
He's been MV top 3. In the
job, Bryce. There we go. Do what you're supposed
to. Yeah, do what you're supposed to do. You're such an old head.
No, I'm just pointing out the obvious. No, when he's doing what he's supposed to, he's top 3.
Yeah. I mean,
Phillies.
So like Greg, I mean, I know Pete gave us a list. Like Greg, Tom, like I just want to like know where you would have them, because I definitely named Allen's for sure number 1, and then I feel like the 2 through 10 range can be interchangeable, and then I just think the sole fact that
it depends on what you look at. Do you look at longevity or do you look at the MVP?
Well, I also want to like throw in that this guy. When's the last time we had a guy just continue to produce year in and year out in the city of Philadelphia? I mean, you look at Ben. Ben was on and off. Joe is probably that guy, but again, injuries plague him. So I don't know if you could count him as contributing year in and year out, because he's always hurt in the playoffs. So you don't know what he is.
Yeah.
Allen contributed year in and year out. Dawkins contributed year in and year out. McNabb, he contributed year in and year out. I mean, we went to multiple NFC championship games, but he just never put us on top.
No.
And that's where I think the longevity for McNabb hurts him, because he was there so many times and always came up short.
Yeah.
Now, the jury's still out on Bryce.
He hasn't made a playoff.
Exactly.
That's the.
But baseball's weird with the numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Trout's the best player in baseball year in and year out. Always puts up the numbers. His wins above replacement is always at the top. Yet his team always misses the playoffs.
Yep.
So I think that's why that's a helping point in Bryce's case of being a top 3 player in the city of Philadelphia since 2000. I definitely think Allen's number 1. I would say Dawkins 2, Bryce 3, but you could interchange them.
That's fair.
And then from there, you got.
See, I can't see the Vic part because no longevity. He was damn close to beating the Packers that won that season.
In the playoff, yeah. His one playoff appearance, he almost beat the Super Bowl champions, but he never won a playoff.
After that, there's really nothing after that.
Pete says that athlete for athlete, Bryce isn't a top 5. I mean, we're defining the term athlete. I mean, I'm just saying a guy in the 4 major sports that played here since 2000. That's it.
Everyone's athletes. Nick Stauskas is an athlete.
Nick Stauskas is going to get a ring before Joel Embiid.
Yeah. That's sad. Sad world we live in.
Yeah. So, yeah, Dave, I hope the Angels end their 11-game losing streak. They're in my parlay tonight.
Who are they playing?
Boston, but LA's home, so yeah,
maybe
they're finally coming back from that hard road trip that they had, like 11 in a row.
2 jet lag teams.
Incredible.
I don't know. I don't know if I did the Red Sox. Are they on a Western? What do you call
A road trip?
it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Did they just start
I
or
I do not remember. I don't think so.
because I think that a team that travels from west to east is a lot more affected than vice versa.
Yeah, but we also got to remember that LA's been east for a week now.
Yeah.
So they're
So
just going back home. They got to get adjusted to the time zone.
yeah.
Boston was, yeah, Boston's been out west. They played Oakland last series,
Oh, okay.
so they've been there. So
Yeah.
Boston's been there. LA's
Mhm.
been here, and now LA's gonna travel back to LA, where Boston's already been. So that could be interesting.
Mhm.
Um, Conversation of Bryce Harper brought to you by Gleason's Bar, which is located at 6700 Mill Creek Ave in Levittown, PA. Use the promo code A2D for 10% off your order whenever you dine in, take out, or order online. That is Gleason's Bar and Steaks.com if you're in Levittown, PA. Yeah, Philly Sports Passion, we are officially on at 5:45 every Monday now. Sports Hounds are still going to be on after us, and then at 10 p.m. every Monday night, the guys Time Arno and Ryan Brodo, and we'll be doing a show collaborating with DJ Eastwood of Run It Back Philly. So make sure you check them out at 10 p.m. tonight. And Philly Sports Fashion, yes, I don't even think there's a doubt that Harper is the best player in Philly right now. I mean, you can maybe argue some of the like Super Bowl guys on the Eagles roster, like maybe a Kelsey, but I think Harper is the best player in Philly, and it's not even a question. And Bede and Brandon, I don't want to I don't want to turn this into a Joel Embiid bash show,
Oh
but
no.
he
Here it
needs
is.
to stay healthy. Like you want to talk about a superstar that needs to stay healthy in this town, or else he's going to get run out. It's got to be Embiid, and I'm not one for running stars out of the town of Philadelphia. We all know that. I mean, that's why I have my Carson Wentz sippy cup, and that's why I have 5,000 Carson Wentz jerseys.
Mhm.
But Joel Embiid needs to stay healthy, and he needs to stay healthy through an entire playoff series. I'm sick of the excuses. I'm sick of the torn ligaments in the thumb. I'm sick of the broken face bones. I'm sick of the torn meniscuses. I'm sick of the diarrhea because he eats too much Chick-fil-A. I'm sick of it. He's not the best. He's not the best athlete in Philly right now. He's number 2, but
Mhm.
Bryce Harper is number 1.
It's close with me. It really is close. I think they're interchangeable no matter what. Just for the sole purpose of Joel in the playoffs, but I know it's not on Bryce. I
It's
know it's not on
basketball.
Bryce.
But
I
it's
know.
basketball. No, but it's not even on Bryce because basketball and baseball are so different when it comes to making the
I know.
playoffs.
I know.
Over half the league in the NBA makes the playoffs,
Mhm.
and they give 20 teams a chance to make the playoffs.
I
There's
know.
30 teams in the NBA, and they give 20 teams a chance.
I know.
He better be in the freaking playoffs. He's Joel Embiid.
Yeah. I know.
If baseball had 20
I
freaking
understand
teams in the
fully.
playoffs, the Phillies would have been in the playoffs with that horrid bullpen. By a mile? Oh, Brandon, that is insanity. So I'm assuming that Brandon will disagree to the poll. Bryce Harper is a top 3 athlete in Philadelphia since the start of the century. I mean, I don't even think he touches Joe in this ranking.
Mhm.
Like I'm
Mhm.
trying to make it make sense in my head right now. Like I'm trying to process like what would make Joe the better athlete than Bryce right now.
Mhm.
I mean, just the eye test in general and recency recency
Recency bias. Yeah.
recency bias. Sorry, it has to be Bryce, but I don't know.
It's
Whatever you
just
say.
I feel like it's too hard to compare the two.
Well, the playoff scenario, like the playoff, in defense of Joe, the playoffs, it means nothing to me. It's a wash because you're supposed to make the playoffs in the NBA unless you're a bottom 5 team, unless you're a lottery team,
Mhm.
and you're not a lottery team. You're a slightly above average basketball team. That's what you've been. You haven't been able to escape the second round. You have second round woes.
Mm-hmm.
And that is in part because your big guy can't stay healthy, because Joel Embiid can't stay healthy. That's all. I mean, it's not a slight to Joe. I love Joe. I'm not one of those guys that's trying to run Joe out of town. I don't want to trade him.
Mm-hmm.
But the simple fact of the matter is he needs to step up and he needs to stay healthy. He needs to stop throwing his body around the floor like he's 5'10", 160 and start playing like he's 7'2", 270, because that's what he is.
Yep. Facts.
Don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but
that's facts.
Brandon, I know all of this about Embiid. Embiid is one of the most talented players ever to play the center position in the history of the NBA. He's 7'2", and he does Euro steps. And after the Euro step, he collapses to the ground like he's folded like a freaking sheet on a freaking clothespin, on a clothesline.
Yep.
It's terrible. I'm not getting in. Like, Harden was trash. Simmons was trash. That's the bigger issue than Embiid. Why does year in and year out the team always fail when it's a different team? But the main correlation is Joel Embiid. Like, what's the bigger issue then? It's like the Phillies woes. Couldn't win with Kapler. Couldn't win with Joe. Now, will they be able to win with Rob Tompson? I don't know. But if they can't win with Tompson, what's the main correlation? It's the players. What's the main correlation with the Sixers right now? Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid's been that guy since 2017, and they couldn't make it past the second round. Mm-hmm. Now I'm blaming Joel Embiid. Now I'm a Joel Embiid hater.
What'd you do, Jamie?
I'm just comparing the sole fact that the dude needs to stay healthy and he needs to stop flopping around like a freaking fish out of water. That's the only thing. If he stops flopping around like a fish out of water, he won't jam his finger into the ground. He won't break his face on somebody's elbow.
Some of those were ridiculous when he tries to.
I have a little body control. Yeah, I mean, if we're watching the games and you see that he's not flopping around like a dead fish in Game 6, you're not watching the games and you're just lost in Joe land.
Yeah,
lost.
I was bashing him. I was bashing him during that playoff game because he couldn't stay on his feet. And when you're down, you're on your knees like that. Pause. When you're down, you're on the ground like that. You can't get back on defense, and that's when the easy buckets from Bam came from. It's not really blaming. It's just shining light on. It is obvious. Joel's on the floor more than any player in the NBA, and he's 7'2".
Yeah. Is he not the common denominator, though?
He's
remained the same since 2017. Nothing. Brett's gone. Ben is gone. Jimmy Butler's gone. Everybody else in the process years is gone. Al Horford's gone. Josh Richardson's gone. And I'm not saying those two are good, but I'm just saying every single year it's a new team. And every single year it needs to change because we're not winning.
Yep.
Because he is always hurt. It's the same thing that got Wentz out of town, right?
Yep.
It's two different sports, Brandon. It's two different sports. Two different sports between baseball and basketball. There's 26 players on a baseball roster, and there's 15 players on a basketball roster. And come finals time, 7 or 8 of those guys are playing. Not 26 like in baseball. So maybe that's why Washington won the second after Bryce left. Or maybe it was lightning in a bottle like the Eagles. Because Washington was horrible that season. And then they come out of nowhere because Juan Soto emerges.
Yep.
And Anthony Rendon has a career year. And then since he got paid in LA, he hasn't done squat. Mark, it's the same thing every year. It's the same thing. All we say is, this was our year because so-and-so got hurt. This was our year because this team didn't live up to expectations. Yet, we're always the team that gets hurt, and we're always the team that loses expectations. And we do that because our big man gets hurt. You got to start holding him accountable. Thank you, Philly Sports Passion. And on paper, you have the league MVP. We were pleading for him to be the league MVP. And then those same people wanted to bring in freaking James Harden, Mark Schmeckel, Brandon Katz. I know you wanted to bring in James Harden because you were so antsy on getting rid of Ben Simmons.
That was me too.
You wanted anything. And don't say that we would have done better with Buddy Hield and Tyrese Halliburton, because then where's Tyrese Maxey playing? You want Maxey? You want Halliburton over Maxey? The same player.
Yep.
I don't want any Sacramento stench. All they know is losing. And I'm starting to think that's what the Sixers do. All the like when Joel Embiid came into the league, you were telling him to lose. It's hard to lose that stench.
Yep.
And I'm not even trying to put it all on Joe. This is an organization thing. But what Joe can do is stop flopping around on the floor like a dead fish. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, I really like it's always bugged me. It's bugged me for a while.
Jimmy Butler isn't a star? Is that what we're saying? Jimmy Butler's not a star? I mean, Joel Embiid's top 10. I'm not saying that he isn't a top 10. But this started because Brandon Katz said that Joel Embiid is light years better than Bryce Harper when it comes to athlete in Philadelphia. Brandon, you're just giving me a laundry list of excuses right now, brother. You're just giving me the laundry list of excuses. Now we're saying Joel Embiid's Michael Jordan. Can we buy a clue? Michael Jordan never won a single playoff series without Pippen. Michael Jordan, dude. It takes 2 stars in the NBA. Embiid has never had a second star. Yeah, my only point is, Mark, that we've basically given everything away, and we got lucky to get Tyrese Maxey in the COVID draft. And if we didn't get Tyrese Maxey, this team would be nothing. Yeah, Joel Embiid is a top 10 player. But like you guys have been saying, you can't win with just 1 star. You need 2 stars.
Yeah, just like baseball, pretty much. It's unless you have a great pitcher and a good hitter.
Yeah,
you can't.
These guys are insane right now because they have had stars around them. Brandon, Bryce Harper is a 2-time MVP in a league that has 26 men on each roster, and then add another 10 that come up and down through the season on each team. And he's won the MVP twice, and he's on his way to maybe winning another one back to back. Like, I'm not understanding what you're trying to say, Brandon.
That's a way longer season. Like, imagine if the NBA was 162 games.
Oh my God, Embiid would be done after 70 games.
Yeah. That's one of the arguments.
Now, yeah, baseball's standing around a lot. Like basketball's a lot more demanding on the body. But this is just insane. This is insanity.
Yep.
The Joel Embiid apologists are out, and I'm not like, I don't blame you because he's the only thing you got in the organization. I believe you. I agree with you full-heartedly on that. And I'm not saying that he's not a top 10 player in the city since 2000, but I am going to say he is better. He has not done more than Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but getting to the second round of the playoffs year in and year out is not good enough for me. Like, do we get rings for getting to the game 7 of a second round playoff series? No.
We should, though. We would be champions every year.
Troy, yes, he did. And when he won MVP, he did make the playoffs in Washington. I believe they won a playoff series, and then they got eliminated in the divisional. Or they may have won the wild card, and then they lost the divisional. Something like that. Bryce Harper hasn't even been to the playoffs in Philly. 20 teams make it to the playoffs in the NBA, dude. 20 teams.
And just so happens the one year we had the bullpen that blew the most saves in MLB history.
Yeah.
Not to
Back-to-back
mention-
years. Back-to-back years.
Yep.
2015, I think he won the MVP, Troy. They definitely made the playoffs in 2015.
Yeah, worst bullpen the MLB has ever seen. So, and you could argue this is probably one of the worst benches for the Sixers that you've ever seen. But
I mean, we did that to ourselves because the Sixers continued to try and add stars, star talent, star contracts around Joel Embiid. That's why you don't have a bench, because you're paying Embiid and you're paying all the star contracts that you tried putting around him. So there are stars around him, Mark and Brandon. There are. So just get that through your thick skulls. All right.
bro, my dad loves Mitchell. It would never happen.
Trying to look at the playoff thing in 2015. I think Bryce made the playoffs twice in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Um, nope, I guess not.
He went to the playoffs in 2017, 14, 16, and 2012, 14, 16, and 17. And lost the division series 3 times.
So the year that he won the MVP, he didn't make the playoffs.
Nope.
But he still made the playoffs. How many other years in Washington as the guy? 4?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, what has Joel Embiid done in the playoffs? I mean, if we want to go down this rabbit hole, I could go down. I like going down rabbit holes. What have the Sixers done?
Bryce Harper has a 211 batting average with 16 hits, 5 homers, 10 RBIs, and 12 runs scored in 19 games in the postseason of his career.
Mm-hmm. And he hasn't been since what? 2017?
2017. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, in 2017, how old was he?
That was what?
24.
Yeah.
And he made postseason 4 times in 5 years, starting at 19 years old. And we're going to do the Bryce Harper Bash show. This is unbelievable.
Beat average.
Brandon, you're giving stats. Like, I understand.
He's not available. He's not available to play. That's the thing. I see, like, dude, I'm always in disagreement with Jimmy. I think it's more fun when we are, but it is super hard to do that. It's super hard to compare, but I do think that Harper is ultimately better than Joel Embiid in this situation. Yeah, Embiid has the playoffs. A lot of teams made the playoffs. Like the Orlando Magic made the playoffs 2 years ago. So I feel like that's very much irrelevant when it comes to this. I know that there's a lot of people out there that base people's opinion of greatness solely on the fact of a championship or an MVP. But if you look at AI is without a ring. He's not. He was in the top 75. What was he, like, around? Where was he? Do you remember?
I could bring it up now for you. But yeah, I mean, and everybody wants to say that Joe never had any help. You want to talk about a guy that never had any help and single-handedly beat the Lakers in a freaking finals game? Like, Joel Embiid can't beat the freaking Heat. His thumb hurt. His face was broken. Okay. Max Strus and Gabe Vincent beat us. I was on these airwaves saying there's no chance in hell that a team led by Max Strus and Gabe Vincent can beat us. And look what happened. This is
So,
like very difficult to find.
yeah, what the hell?
Um, Allen Iverson's 31.
31.
Yeah, Allen Iverson is 31 and James Harden is 50.
Yeah.
Barkley's 22. Moses is 15. Julius is 14.
I don't know if you can see it, but do you know what D Wade was? I'm gonna
Yeah,
try to make a point.
let me try and pull it up for us.
He's number 28. And
Wade,
you said AI was 30 something?
31.
See, that's where I would have Allen Iverson better because D Wade's 2 championships, you can see he was playing with somebody good. He was
Yeah,
playing with one of the best players on the
Shaq and
planet.
LeBron.
But
Shaq and
if he
LeBron.
didn't, he would be in Allen Iverson's situation. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that's just where people see, "Oh, he's got a ring, he must be better." But I just think that, like, longevity does play a big role, but so does availability on the court,
yep.
you know?
The Heat were a very good team. Oh, all right, Brandon, you're done. I can't anymore. The Heat were a very good team. They only lost to Boston because of injuries. So now you're saying the only reason why the Heat lost are because of injuries. Would have been the reasons why the Sixers have lost in the second round of the playoffs every single year. Because
Yep.
Joel Embiid's injuries, because he's not available. That is
Mhm.
the whole point of this conversation. Bryce may be hurt, but he's always available.
Yep.
It's like unbelievable. um,
I'm not on the Wade was better than Iverson side. I don't know. I was never.
Allen Iverson was better than Dwayne Wade.
Because if you were to pair Iverson with a player that was like LeBron, if you were to like, it would be very hard to do that because Dwayne Wade wasn't really a scorer. He was more of like the playmaker and did a lot of other things. But whereas Iverson was basically he had to be everything, you know.
Yeah,
So if you're to throw him with someone like Charles Barkley or so like, and that's not even close to what Wade had with LeBron.
yeah. I'm posting up my list right now, like my official list.
Mhm.
I have Joe at 8.
But Wade had to be a playmaker because of LeBron's scoring. Isn't that am I wrong there? That's exactly what what we brought James Harden in for. His playmaking, not his scoring.
Yeah, Brandon, I watched with my eyes that Allen Iverson was a better basketball player than Dwayne Wade. If Allen Iverson had Shaq for one season and
Oh my
then LeBron
gosh.
for another,
Oh
they
my
would have never
gosh.
lost. Allen
Yep.
Iverson would have had many more rings than Dwayne Wade's 3. You have
Mhm.
3? Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
unbelievable.
Yeah. Alright. That's just
Brandon,
me, but
Allen was a two guard too. Like Eric Snow was his point guard.
mhm.
Allen was a dual threat guard that can do anything. What? Shaq was nowhere near his prime when he played with Wade. Yeah, he was still that dominant force in the lane. Like the
Mhm.
league was starting to transition. Like, what are we talking
Yeah.
about? Shaq lost his prime in what 2008,
Yeah.
but that
Somewhere around there,
2006 season, Shaq was still a freaking dominant force.
yeah. Mhm.
That if Allen had that, I don't know. This is my little top 10 list since 2000. I mean, I got Iverson 1, Dawkins 2, Harper 3, Howard 4. And I think Howard was the most important hitter on
Mhm.
that team just because he was the anchor. And he was just feared at the plate.
Mhm.
I had Halladay at 5 just because the sole impact that he had in those 2 years. Rollins 6, McNabb 7, Joe at 8, Giroux 9, Utley 10. I need to watch. I don't need to watch some film. I watched them both play. I don't have time for that right now.
I'm genuinely. Was there any other player that averaged that many more than Shaq was? Shaq was probably what, the second, third best player on that Heat team. If you look at the third best player on the Sixers, it was what, Mutombo, like, I don't even know who the hell it was. It wasn't. I don't think it was anybody averaging 13 points a game, even that.
Was Allen Iverson was 1. I mean, they traded midseason for the Kembe.
Yeah.
Um, Eric Snow was their point guard.
Mhm.
I'm just trying to think of all the bums that they had on that. Like, they were a good defensive team. They just didn't
Yeah.
have the
Oh, yeah.
star power to keep.
They were like the Knicks of 2 years ago, basically, if they were to make a run and D Rose came out of D Rose got a new ACL. That's what it would have been like. But none of those dudes averaged that many points.
Wade was a much better scorer. I like volume
But
scorer,
wait, but
or score like a variety scorer.
yeah,
Who did D Wade play in the finals, and who did Iverson play in the finals?
D Wade lost to Dirk. That's who he lost to. And
No, who did Wade win in the who did he
win
beat in the
against?
2006 finals? I gotta look that up.
Um,
Was it the
was it?
Spurs?
It wasn't. Was it Dallas?
Oh, it was the Mavericks. It was the Mavericks. Yeah.
So they beat them and they lost to them, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Wade averaged 34, 7 rebounds, 4 assists in the 2006 NBA Finals. So he had a hell of a 6 games.
Yeah.
But was he as like I just don't think he was as dominant as Allen was.
Hmm.
Statistically, like I feel like this is the Joel Embiid versus Nikola Jokic debate, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to that, I think it's not even close. Joe is that much better than Nikola Jokic, and Jokic is a damn
Mhm.
good player, just like Dwayne Wade is a damn good player. But I just think Allen Iverson was that much better than him.
Yeah. Because if you're at exchange players, I just think that, like, yeah, like, all right, so there's nobody of Shaq's esque on that Sixers team
Not
when
even
they
close.
went
I mean,
and played
you want to talk
Kobe.
about a guy
They
that was
went and
out of his
played Kobe
prime?
Bryant. They went and played Kobe damn Bryant
Yeah,
in the finals.
yeah. And you steal game 1 single handedly.
Yeah.
Steal.
Yes. In LA.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like that's more impressive than beating Dallas in that on that season. I don't know.
The sports passion has AI, B Doc, Harper, Howard, Doc, Chase, J Roll, McNabb, JoJo, and G. Yeah. Yeah, those are my 10. Like I said, I think honestly 2, I guess you could say 3 through 10 is interchangeable in my eyes.
Mhm.
But I definitely think Harper's better than Joe. I mean, and Brandon, I do see you with Kelsey. I just didn't know how to put a center on this list. But
Mhm.
like, I'm all for Kelsey. I love Kelsey, and I don't disagree with you with that. He should be in the top 10. I just don't know how you put a center. Like, yeah, he's a big impact, but I'm just talking to like flashy position players,
Mhm.
guys that are going to hit the home runs, guys that are going to dunk the basketball.
Just Allen Iverson, or not Allen Iverson. Um, Bryant had Shaq during his when they won in 2001, right?
Yeah,
And that was pretty much Shaq's prime. right?
Dude, Shaq was mid 90s, early
He was
2000s.
that was his best seasons, like the mid or the late
Look, he honestly was just dominant
1990s.
throughout.
Yeah, he was
He
just
was
a
just
big
dominant
guy.
throughout.
He was a perfect combo with a shooter, a guy who can shoot and take control of games. That's why Joel Embiid needs a player like that. That's why Joel Embiid needs a player like Jason Tatum, Devin Booker, not a guy who throws up 40 shots a game and only makes 10 of them. Like that ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
You just
So Shaq in 92 in his rookie year, he averaged 23 and 14. 93, 29 and 13. 94, 29 and 11. 95, 26 and 11. And 96 was when he went to the Lakers. So in 96, it was 26 and 12. 97, 28 and 11.
mm,
Um, 99, 29 and 13. 2000, 28 and 12. 2001, 27 and 10. 2002, 27 and 11.
mhm,
2003, 21 and 11. 2004, he went to the Heat and he was 23 and 10. 2005, 20 and 9. And then 2006, he was 17 and 7. So I'm thinking after that 2006 year, that's when he started to fall.
mhm.
Because last year with the Heat, he was 14 and 7. Then he went to the Suns. He was 13 and 10.
Yep.
So
Dude, just look at that Sixers roster in 2001. That was absolutely atrocious. I don't know how the hell they won that many games. I really don't.
Brandon, it's not all time. It's since 2000. Since the turn of the century, Bryce Harper is a top 3 player in Philly. We haven't had that many good players. We haven't had that many champions.
Mhm.
We've had 2 championships since 2000. Ed, the Sixers had none of those in this year. No
Yeah,
centers
no.
and no shooters.
Nope.
You don't know why we didn't have any centers? Because Joel Embiid was hurt.
Yep.
All right, let's shift this conversation. There's no getting through to these Joel Embiid fanatics. I just can't wait. Like we're talking Joel Embiid now. Can you imagine come football season, the second that Jalen Hurts has a bad game?
No,
Oh
Jesus.
my God, it's gonna be a freaking courtroom in this freaking chat.
Oh my God.
It's going to be a courtroom.
Alonzo Mourning.
All
Way
right.
better roster.
Yeah, it wasn't
Gary
even.
Payton too.
All right. Next topic going to be our just general Phillies talk. Brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Check out our doc, Dr. Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy LLC. He has 2 locations in Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. He's our doc. Make him yours. That is specializedphysicaltherapy.com. All right, so Phillies obviously turning around on a 4-game win streak right now after just being ice cold for a while. I think the shift in culture was definitely a relief for some of these players. I know Bryce Harper's comments, the presser after Joe gets released, he kind of like puts blame on Girardi, which is just that's another thing you gotta love about Bryce. He's always going to be straight up with you. He's not going to bullshit you. He's going to tell
Yep.
you what he thinks, and he doesn't care what anybody thinks about it. He's
Mhm.
not going to sugarcoat anything. And
No.
he basically told us that, yeah, half of it was on the players and half of it was on the manager.
Yeah, we could have saw that too, like just me and you watching the game.
Oh, yeah.
But like my really ending thoughts on Girardi, it's just like he he is what he is. He's Doc. He's basically Doc.
Yeah, I think he's worse than Doc.
Yeah, I'd say so too.
His decision making was just mind boggling.
I
How
feel like
many?
I don't know if he stopped caring. I really don't know the situation with all that, but
Oh, he was just uninterested.
yeah, He just might be uninterested in baseball in general.
Yeah,
But
I mean, apparently he's really good friends with Rob Thompson. Rob Thompson's been his bench coach forever, been his right hand man forever, even going back to his New York days. So maybe he was just ready to give the job to Rob. I
mhm.
I don't
Give the
know.
job to Rob, baby.
Ah,
That's the slogan.
yeah. Oh my God, he's still on Bryce Harper. Brandon, like, is Brandon a Philly fan? Like, does he like the Phillies? Like, this is just agenda talk. Do you have your agenda book out? You're writing notes down?
He's not drinking the red juice. He's only
My
drinking the
fourth
blue
graders
juice
had to write
slowly.
a lot of homework tonight in their agenda books. I don't know if Brandon's thinking the same thing. Bryce Harper hit below 270 his first 2 years in Philly, and you have him ahead of Fletcher Cox, a beast who led the defense that brought a title to Philly. Get the fuck out of here. All
Fletcher
right, my number one response to that
Fletcher
is
Cox.
Fletcher Cox is just an absolute animal. Uh, do we win the Super Bowl without him? Yeah, I mean I think we do. I
Mhm.
mean that the offense was just rolling on all cylinders. But
Yeah.
Fletcher Cox was a game changer. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
And Fletcher Cox is definitely right outside that top 10.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
like I said with Brian Dawkins, it's hard to put a defender on this list in general. Like we can make a list of the guys who won us championships between the Phillies and Eagles to see who the better players were.
Yeah. I mean, the Eagles without Fletcher would be a lot more prone to win a championship than the Phillies would be without Harper.
Yeah, and it's not even a debate.
It's not close. Yeah. No.
And you want to talk about a guy that stole money. I'm a Fletcher guy. I love Fletcher. Fletcher's on my Carson sippy cup. Carson's on one side, Fletcher's on the other. I just don't think Brandon understands baseball to be having this conversation. But like you're telling us to watch film on Sixers. I think you need to watch some just basic 101 on baseball. Oh my God. Okay, Brandon. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, the Phillies turnaround because of a Bryce Harper. Like the amount of just clutch hits that Bryce Harper has had from the seventh
Mhm.
inning on since 2019 has just been ridiculous. And you're just gonna
Mhm.
just go to baseballreference.com, look up Bryce Harper's stats where he was batting 260 in
Mhm.
2019 and then 252 in 2020.
Yeah.
But then you're not going to say anything about last season. You're not going to say anything about what happened this year. You're not going to say anything about what happened yesterday. You're just going to
Mhm.
push it for your agenda. Like
Yep.
keep writing in your agenda book, dude.
Remember they used to give out free agenda books in middle school? He may have
Eh,
got one. He may have got one.
Another thing I'm confused about. Why is he saying over 270 one year? Because he never even batted 270. He batted 309 last year,
Yeah.
312. So
Yeah.
where does 270 coming from? All right, Phillies win. Phillies 4 in a row. Um, let's just go over their schedule because the main question at hand for this topic is have they officially turned it around? They have the Brewers for 3 games coming up at Milwaukee. If you win this series, it's huge. It's
Yeah.
huge.
Mhm.
You got because if you win this series, you're gonna end up being 27 and 30. You got
Mhm.
Ranger on the bump tomorrow going against Jason Alexander. Alexander, this is going to be his second game pitched. So it'd be nice if you could maybe beat up on him a
Yeah.
little bit.
Absolutely.
Ranger just needs to get back to his old ways of last year, and I don't think it will happen. But we could pray for it. We could try and manifest it. But the bottom line is the dude is pitching at a 4.69 ERA, and he's struggling getting out of 4 innings.
Yep.
That just can't happen.
Like I say, just use him as a reliever at this point because it's just too much now. I mean, why not just experiment?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not too late to go and trade for. Because I mean, if you're to trade anybody, it's probably gonna be Hoskins, right?
Yeah. And Reese Hoskins is just atrocious. Like, Brandon's hilarious. And I'm not even saying that Joel isn't on Bryce's level. I'm just saying Bryce is like the better star than Joe is. Because yeah, I'm done. Whatever. All right, so you got Ranger, and then the next day you will have, I believe, Eflin. Let me just double check on that. Yeah, so you got Suarez versus Alexander, Nola versus Hauser, and then Zach Eflin versus Corbin Burns.
Mhm.
I think I think the Nola start's no doubt going to be a win.
Mhm.
Suarez, I think, going to be up in the air, and then that Eflin
That
Burns,
last game is gonna be tough
that's going to be tough because
against
Corbin
Burns.
Burns is a G.
Mhm.
Corbin Burns so far this year 3-3, 2.50 ERA. So I think you could go 2-1 against them, and then you come back home immediately and you verse Arizona for 3.
That should be a sweep, but we'll find a way for
It
it not to
should be
be.
a sweep. You know what? I'm
I
gonna go
would say
sweep.
2-1 to be safe.
I'll go sweep because then you got Miami, and I think you lose that series.
Oh my gosh.
So
I'd do it.
I I think you go 5-1, and then I think you go 7-3 after the Miami series. So that'll bring you 7-3 for your next 10 games,
Mhm.
and 7-3 will bring you to an even 500. 7-3 will bring you to 32-33 or 32-32, and that'll be mid-June. So then after that Miami series, which will be game 3, will be June 15th. So then you got 5 games in Washington. You got to win 4 of those 5, right?
Mhm.
So then if you win
Yeah.
4 of those 5, you are 4 games above 500 going into June 21st. If they're 4 games above 500, we're ecstatic, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Even if they're 3 games above 500, we're ecstatic.
Even if they're above 500, I'll be happy.
Yeah. June 21st and June 22nd, immediately after those 5 games in Washington, you're going to be at Texas. I say you split that. You split that, so then you're still 4 games above 500.
Mhm.
And then you go to San Diego. I think you
Ooh.
split that for 4 games.
Yeah,
So you're
that's tough.
still 4 games above 500.
Yep.
And then
Maybe they'll be adjusted to the heat by then. We won't know.
I mean, it looks like it's hitting season now.
Yeah.
And then the last 3 games in June, homestand against Atlanta. So right now you're 4 games above 500 going into that homestand. Even if you get swept, which we will all be disappointed, you're still going to be a game above 500.
I don't want to talk about it. Man, I'm sorry. I just yawned. I look like I'm crying now. No, but I
Sunblock
like.
gate.
I feel like every series now, Jim, is. I don't want to say it's must win, but it's like series.
Just
You
win
must
every
win the
series.
rest of the series. Yes.
The Mets have swept 1 series this year, and that was us.
Yeah. Yep.
They've won every other series, and that's
Yep.
what their record is now. Just win
Yeah.
every other series, and you're going to get to 90 games.
Yeah. Mhm. Do you know how many? I'm gonna go check actually. How many games they are behind the last wild card spot? You said there's eight teams that make it from each, or 7
Uh,
or 6?
Well, ESPN just has the wild card standings. They'll tell you how many games back you are. The Phillies are 4.5 games back of the wild card.
Okay, and that's the Braves. What, Braves
So,
are the last spot?
so San Diego has the first spot, St. Louis has the second. San Francisco has the last spot at 29 and 24. And then it's the Braves, who are 2 games back, and the Diamondbacks, who are 4 games back. And then the Phillies are 4.5.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So,
Yeah, and I feel like we're focusing on the Mets right now when we need to be focusing on the Braves. I feel like you have to take that one at a time. You're still 3.5 games behind them.
yeah,
So
2.5.
2.5.
Yeah. Braves are 8.5 back of the Mets, and we're 11. So that's. I'm not no math teacher, but.
Oh wait. Oh yeah. What the hell am I saying? I thought it said.
No, you're good. Where is Zach Wheeler on your list of best players right now in this city? I mean, I don't want to trigger Brandon again.
Is he better than Joel Embiid?
I don't know. I think Bryce and Joe are definitely 1 and 2 right now. Currently, Bryce and Joe are 1 and 2. And then you want to talk about number 3? I would.
No one on the Flyers.
Definitely.
I don't think anyone of the Flyers are top 10.
Carter Fart, maybe number 10.
Ugh.
Mr. Steal Your Girl.
Yeah. We don't talk about him. You're the jinx, man. You're the jinx.
Yeah.
If you didn't steal his girl, dude, you would have been. We would have probably been in the finals.
Probably. My
We would
bad.
have just swept the Rangers. Can't have nice things.
Anyway, I would say Bryce, Joe 1, 2. I would think Jason Kelsey 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to put Eagles on this list. Like, it's
Yeah,
hard.
I mean,
like,
you can't really throw AJ Brown in there yet. I know he's.
No.
Or can you? I don't. You haven't seen him play, so we don't know. Darius Slay.
Darius Slay's up there, but is he better? Does he contribute more as Zach Wheeler? I mean, Zach Wheeler was
Not more than Zach. I don't think so.
Zach Wheeler was number 2 in Cy Young last year, and he's
Yeah.
continuing it on this year.
Yeah. I think you could throw in Slay in there. You can throw in. I want to say Goddard, but
I feel like to answer the question, I think Zach Wheeler is top 5 in the city right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Harden, not even in the top 10. Not even in the
He
top
might
10.
be 10. Is he better than Carter Fart?
No. Carter Fart's
What?
better than James Harden. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Dude, as much as we just argued with Brandon and who else was in here? Damn,
Mark.
Brandon and Mark. Yeah, Mark. We did lose that playoff series because James Harden couldn't step up.
That's true.
I mean, when Joe's down, James got to step up.
All right. We also didn't win that series because Joel wasn't able to play.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Games. Do you think that would have been a different series if you did?
Yeah. What game did he show up in? Game
3.
4, game 3 or game 4?
I think it was. Yeah, it was game. It was game 3 because then we won 2.
If he would have played the way he played in game 3 in at least one of the Miami games, and you bring the series back to Philly in game 7, I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell that you lose another game 7 in the second round.
Yeah. Wait, would it have been in Philly?
No, it wouldn't have, because you lost game 6 in Philly. Miami. Yeah. No. Oh, yeah. No. That's
if we would have went back to game 6 in Philly, we would have had a chance, and then game 7, I think.
No, we lost game 6 in Philly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then you would have had to go back to game. You would have had to go back to Miami in game 7. There's no chance. Yeah. Harden stinks. I'll give him maybe between 12 and 15 as current athletes in Philly right now, but he freaking stinks.
Is Tobias Harris ranked higher than him?
Yes. I honestly think that if you would have just left the roster the same, you would have got past Miami in the second round.
I think so too.
And I don't even think that's a debate.
And give Maxey that control of being that guy. You know?
Yep. Have Seth next to him.
Dude, Seth would have been dirty.
Seth being able to keep up with Strus and Vincent in the 3-point battle, no question.
Yep.
But it is what it is. What is it called? Hindsight biases.
Yep. Biases. Biases.
JT, I'll put JT. I gotta write this down. Like I can't like just do it off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about JT. He'll definitely be top 15 too. And JT's actually been putting up some numbers over the past few games. Hopefully he could keep that up in this series trip to Milwaukee.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been doing pretty good. So that's actually good to see. Because for a second I was kind of thinking Stubbs was looking like kind of nice.
You just lost your job to Garrett Stubbs.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
We gotta DM that guy and see if he wants to come on the show anytime.
Who, Stubbs?
No, the guy that made that TikTok.
Josh Sweat?
No, Philly Matt, I think he is.
Oh, okay.
I'll send you his TikToks. He like makes all the Philly TikToks.
Oh yeah, I know.
You know who I'm talking about? Yeah. He has the really thick Delco accent. Sounds like a miniature Ralphie.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not really the best catcher in baseball.
He may not be the best catcher on this baseball team.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the guy to say this, but I mean, maybe I am because I have a podcast as well, but throw him at first. Throw him at first base.
Who, JT?
What's the worst that can happen? Throw him at first base if Hoskins gets traded. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, but then you need another catcher.
Bring up one from the fucking Blue Claws or something. It doesn't matter.
So you're gonna keep Boehm at third?
Yeah. Why not? Or I mean, you could throw him at first. I mean, actually, no. I'm keeping that. If we trade Reese, you send Baum over to first. You have DD. You have a lot of depth that can play in the infield. You have Stott.
All of a sudden, I mean, Segura is going to be out till September now, and that's at least September. So that kills you. So now you got like those second, third shortstop got, and I don't know what happened to Camargo yesterday, but he got hurt. He had to be taken out the game. Mm-hmm. Now all of a sudden, it looks like you just have Bohm, Stott, and Didi.
Yeah, as soon as Didi came back too, like, what about? Was Manton playing? What was Manton playing? Was he playing outfield?
Moniak?
No, Manton.
Manton. Oh, Maton.
Yeah.
He was playing second base, middle infielder.
So maybe you put Maton second.
Yeah, but
he was raking. When he was up, he was raking.
Dude,
I love players that are hot. They usually stay hot. I don't know how, like, just until, I mean, you still have Ronald Torres, like we said, bring up every podcast. Ronald Torres is one of those Camargo type guys.
It's kind of like how we manifested Sir Anthony's return.
Yeah. Yeah, that was very disappointing. No, you know, I don't think Sir Anthony's doing, like, I think they'll build.
His ERA is below 2.
Yeah, he will build trust within the bullpen when it comes down to big games. I think Alvarado is a total choke artist. And like Knable's probably your best, but I mean, like, your best still isn't trustworthy.
Oh, yeah. The last 4 times I've seen him pitch, he's given up a run.
He gave up 2 blown. He blew 2 games in back-to-back games.
Yep.
2 back-to-back.
And then last night he gives up a leadoff walk right after Bryce hits the grand slam. You bring him in the top of the 9th, tie game 7-7, and immediately leadoff walk, and then that run ends up scoring. So then you're down again going into the bottom of the 9th because of Knievel. So
So that just pounds it home that you still need a reliable or like maybe a rotational pitcher or a bullpen pitcher. You know what I mean? Like
No, I hear you. I still think Sir Anthony. Like me and
he,
Tom
I
were
think
talking
he
about
can do
this
it. I
yesterday.
think he can. He got his surgery. He did everything he had to do. He cleared everything. I mean, you can't say anything with a ERA below 2. You
Yeah,
don't have anything else. So why not throw the guy with the best ERA on the team? I know the sample size is not big, but it's still under 2.
yeah,
So you can't really like argue with that
yep.
because it's not like you got anybody else to come up and pitch. And
No,
and then the guy you did come up and pitch was only pitching 89 miles a fucking hour.
yep. Who was that?
So
Bailey Falter.
yeah,
That was just that was
from
like mind numbing.
oh, your high
When
school
Joe
is throwing
Girardi
faster than that.
when Joe
No,
Girardi decided to scratch Zach Eflin after the best game of his career to give him extra rest, and then you decide to start Bailey Falter to start a series against the division leading rivals in the Mets.
yeah, or
Like
you needed to
how
win,
how
basically.
just incompetent can you be to do that?
Very, very.
It's atrocious. Troy says trade Reese to the Rays for pitching. I would trade Reese to freaking California for some avocados right now.
Yeah,
That's how just low of an opinion I have on Reese Hoskins. And the one thing I will say about Reese Hoskins is he does care. Like he
mhm.
cares that he sucks so much right now. And
Yeah.
that I do appreciate that.
Him and Baum have very, very similar personalities, I think.
Yeah. And I do like Reese as a person. I do not like him as a baseball player. I do
Mhm.
not like him as a one hole hitter. I do not like him as a 2-hole hitter.
Dude, ever since that interview with Carson Wentz, Bryce Harper, and Hoskins, that bad things, bad things. That was probably the biggest jinx. Besides
Yeah.
Bryce, somebody had to get it. The jitters, the yips.
All right. Bottom line, what's your prediction for this team for the rest of the season? I'm saying they're definitely getting a wild card. I'm saying that they're gonna still hit 90 wins.
That's very. I'm not that type of guy, Jimmy. I think that I don't want to say that we have no chance, but it's only 3 games. It's only 3 games,
4 games.
and 4 games. Yeah, a 4-game series can change the attitude of a season, especially when you sack a manager. It's just what it is. But I feel like Stott said it best yesterday. Don't let your highs get too high. Don't let your lows get too low. I mean, you're gonna lose series coming up. You're not gonna win every single series. I don't think you will. Um, just because of that bullpen and the question marks on the rotation. I mean, yo, shout out to F1 though for having that great game the other day.
Yeah.
If if he becomes just half the player more what he is now, we'll be good. I feel like I will have confidence within our starting rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just think that we have a good opportunity to make the playoffs now because you're just riding so high right now, and it really comes down to those games like the Marlins series. You can't lose series to the Marlins. Can't get swept by the Marlins. You can't get swept by these bad teams. Like last year, we got swept by the Marlins, and we got swept by who
The
else was it?
Diamondbacks.
Diamondbacks.
And the
That's really what
Diamondbacks are
lost you
coming
that
from town.
season.
Oh yeah.
You could have made the playoffs if you tied that series, if you tied both of those series.
It's just a typical Philadelphia team syndrome. I mean, the Flyers will win 10 in a row and then they'll immediately lose 10 in a row. The Phillies will
Exactly.
win 10 in a row and then they'll immediately lose 10 in a row.
Yeah.
Like it's the same.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
god.
feel like I want to ride high on the Phillies right now, but a four game a four win
A
four
4-game
wins
win
is
streak.
just not. I've
Yeah,
seen
they
it
got
too much.
they got to maintain it. They do have to maintain it. Brandon comes in saying the Phillies are the definition of a 500 team. I don't disagree with you there. They have some talent, but they are inconsistent. Yep, they aren't getting the wild card unless they improve the bullpen at the deadline. Yeah, I agree with everything you say. I do think they need a leadoff hitter still.
Mm-hmm.
That'll help, but I think their biggest concern is getting
bullpen.
that one extra arm because I think Brogdon's good, Brad Hand has been good, and Sir Anthony has been good.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get another arm in the starting rotation, I think you could move Ranger back to the bullpen, and I think Ranger will be a fantastic bullpen piece.
Oh, absolutely. Long reliever, he would be amazing. And that's
Mm-hmm.
really what you need because on those days where Nola is not Nola, or Nola is Nola, I could say, you're going to need that long rotational guy who can
Yep.
take you to the 8th inning.
You
4
can't
more,
you
5
can't you
more.
can't be starting Christopher Sanchez and Bailey Falter,
No.
aka Shake Milton and Furkan Korkmaz.
Yeah, yep.
Can't be starting those guys.
That's true.
And especially when if Tompson comes in and says, Eflin needs an extra day. It would be beautiful to have Ranger step in and start instead of Bailey Falter.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you add another arm like hey, if the Angels continue to fall, if Greinke wants to leave Kansas City, you can maybe get a Zach Greinke or a Noah Syndergaard. Get one of those guys to fill out your rotation. I would be ecstatic.
Yeah.
Even if you want to trade Reese for maybe Syndergaard.
Yeah.
And not Reese for Angel de los Santos because I can't. I'd rather watch Christopher Sanchez pitch for the rest of my life than see Angel pitch again.
I think that, and Familia too. Like he sucks too.
Oh yeah, I've never seen somebody so uncomfortable on the mound when he has people on base. Like, dude, you're a relieved pitcher. You're a reliever. Yeah. You're supposed to be pitching very comfortable out of the stretch. Yeah, why do you look so uncomfortable?
That was a very uncomfortable game that he was that was against the Mets too, right?
That was the game where he tied his shoe 17,000 times.
Yeah.
Every other pitch, he would tie his shoe. Dude, you're a grown-ass man. Learn how to tie your shoe.
Tape his shoes down. Tape his laces down.
I tape my laces
down. He needs Velcro. Yeah. He needed Velcro that game. Yeah. But yeah, I think maybe you go the route of like you're good either way. You just need an arm in the pitching. It can be one of the 5 rotational guys, or it can be a reliever because, like you said, what's his face can do. Ranger Suarez he can do both. So he's done both at a pretty high level.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, Brandon, Bill Ambler is a good one, but Bradley Cooper is another one that Evan Taylor looks like.
I don't know why people think I look like.
Yeah, there's another guy you look like too. Another athlete. I forget who though. But you do look like a lot of famous people.
Thank you. Let's go.
And not saying you are famous. I'm just saying.
Damn. Come on now.
All right. Let's move on. Let's get to some Eagles talk, and then we'll get to our weekend winners and hop on out of here. Weekend winners brought to you by Manscaped. It's time for everybody to upgrade their lives. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com. That is 20% off plus free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com. It's time to throw out your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life today. All right, so the Eagles, they promote Alec Halanby from a scout. And mind you, that could have been the scout that chose J.J. Arcega-Whiteside over DK Metcalf. Or that could have been the scout that said, pick Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. Or that could have been the scout that said, let's trade up and get Andre Dillard. Or that could have been the scout that said, let's get Sidney Jones over Dalvin Cook. Like, it could have been that scout. And now that scout is assistant GM.
Mm-hmm. I really hope not. That's not the situation that we're in.
Well, it's just interesting to see that this front office is going from football minds to football nerds.
Yep.
I'm just praying to the good Lord up above that this guy, Alec Halanby, wasn't involved in any of those picks that I just said.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm praying to the good gods up above that he was involved in the Quez Watkins picks. He was involved in the Jordan Mailata picks.
Mm-hmm.
I hope to the good gods up above that he wasn't involved in the Dallas Goedert pick.
Yeah.
I love Dallas, but there's no reason why you should have drafted Dallas the way you drafted him.
They didn't want to pay. They didn't want to give.
But you just paid Dallas what you could have
What
paid
he would have
Zach.
been paying. Yeah. But I mean, he is younger though.
He's younger, but they basically had the same production last year. That's just my 2 cents on the thing. I just hope that and Julian Lurie has an official title now. Dude's never picked up a football in his life.
Come on, he probably won a few flag football games in high school. Right?
Yeah, and Brandon, this is the reason why I'm concerned that Alec Halanby got promoted to assistant GM, because he is the analytic people. He is the nerd. He is the nerd taking over sports. And I preface this in the beginning of the show. There's nothing wrong with nerds. Nerds rule the world. But we come to sports to escape the world problems. I want athletes running my teams. I want guys that played the game running my team.
We don't need Jonah Hill running or saying what we do.
Hey, it's a weekly thing. Jonah Hill and Brad Pitt ruined sports.
Yep. We'll say that until we die.
Yeah.
Until we win a championship. Have a good one, Philly Sports. Never walk alone, baby. I don't know if Jimmy knows what that means.
Why are you coming at me?
It's a Liverpool thing.
Analytics have some value, but you have to have real world knowledge and common sense. Yep. I totally agree with you, Brandon. Totally agree.
Until analytics become something like the shift, you know?
Oh, the shift has ruined baseball.
Yes. It helps when you watched the movie and you saw, oh, you can go get this player. He has this attribute that you can use for your team, this, that, and the other. But then as soon as you start the shift, it's a smart, when you think about it, it's a smart thing, but players are good enough to hit away from the shift nowadays.
They should be, yeah.
Like there's analytics both ways. There's not analytics one way. There's analytics both ways.
Yeah. And Tampa Bay manager Kevin Cash basically lost the World Series because of analytics.
Because of analytics.
Taking out Blake Snell in that 6th inning.
Absolutely.
Should have never happened. And analytics took over his mind, and it lost him the biggest game in his career.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just concerned that in 9 years from now, of how he calls it quits, that this guy, Alec Halanby, takes over and we have similar drafts to the ones that we've had over the past 5 years. The same drafts that have made us a below 500 football team since winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The same drafts that gave this team just absolutely no talent whatsoever up until recently.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because they
bring back old sports.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. And like
so much more beneficial, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Get away from the technology, get away. I'm all for technology, but sometimes it just doesn't have the right influence.
Yeah.
Especially on our sports.
Yeah. I mean that's basically all I really wanted to say about the Eagles. If I hear one more
I'm not nervous. You know, I'm not nervous. I think there's enough people within the organization to sway thoughts and opinions on players and drafts. And I think Sirianni has if God forbid if Howie Roseman gets fired or whatever, and then you still got Sirianni, I think Sirianni is the guy who's going to be having the say in who's being drafted. and
Yeah,
I trust him. I trust him.
and another thing to piggyback off of that is he's not calling plays this year.
Yeah.
He's gonna devote the plays to the offensive coordinator.
Yep.
Name's escaping me right now. It'll come to me. But he's going to be calling the plays. So Sirianni is going to be able to manage the football game, equally balance out the offense, all three phases of the football game.
Shane
Shane
Steichen.
Steichen, yeah. And yeah, I think that'll give Sirianni more control in getting the players he wants out of free agency, getting the players he wants in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically how NFL coaches succeed nowadays. I mean, you look at Belichick, he hasn't called plays in years. Andy
Mm-hmm.
Reid hasn't called any plays in years.
Yep.
And those are the top two coaches in the league.
Yeah. And to go back 1 second, the Moneyball thing, that's so different because that's very, very much different analytics than what we're talking about.
Well, yeah.
Those analytics were for attributes on players and salaries. Like they were playing on a minimal salary.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you put analytics on big teams, you tend to think too much.
Well, yeah.
And that's when you lose.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's why I think the Yankees have lost in part because they build this super team, but then they tend to lean towards the analytical side. That's why the Dodgers couldn't win forever. I mean, they built their team off of money, but then they were still going off of analytics instead of just going with the guys that they spent all that money on.
Yep. You're right.
So, but yeah. Brandon says this year will be the test for Sirianni. Anyone can have one good year. Even idiot Chip had a good year. The second year is the test because teams have tape on his system now. Yeah. I mean, my only rebuttal to that is I don't even know what Sirianni's system is because you have a quarterback that can't throw the football. So his system's going to adjust based on what his quarterback can do. That's what he did all last season. System totally adjusted. Totally went from one offense to a completely different offense last year. And I give Coach Sirianni props for that.
Mm-hmm.
And if I hear one more beat writer, Eagles analyst say that Jalen Hurts had a fantastic 7-on-7, he went 9 for 10 for 3 touchdowns, and the only incompletion he had was because Darius Slay had an excellent pass breakup, I might never watch football again. Yep. I need to see this when everybody's in full pads and there's 5 guys in front of him. Duking it out at the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
I need to see if he can progress through his reads.
Jalen Hurts throws 9 touchdowns during practice and throws all 9 of them to Rager, who is the best practice player in history.
Yeah, I made note.
Dude, he looked like who did he look like last? He looked crazy last. I was excited to watch him, but then I was like, this guy sucks. Still.
Do you still think that? Do you think Jalen Reagor watches that one catch that he had in training camp last year? That one-handed catch.
Where he jumps up and yes.
Yeah. Do you think he watches that every night before bed?
Probably. It's probably like, damn. That was prime of my career right there.
That was just
wow. Great catch. Do it during a game. I'll be impressed then. Till then, you're not playing.
Yeah, Brandon and I have the same take on the Hurts, so that's cool. The Hurts take. I'm gonna believe it when I see it. If Jalen Hurts plays above average this year, this team's gonna win a playoff game. If Jalen Hurts plays the same way he played last year, this team isn't going to win a playoff game. It's that simple. So,
yep,
we'll see what happens. Let's get to some weekend winners. Weekend winners brought to you by eXp Realty. eXp Realty. Looking to buy or sell a home? Looking for a change in career brokerage? Contact Alan Foy of eXp Realty LLC at 302-682-8820 or visit him at alan.foy@exprealty.com. Check them out. Weekend winners. I would have to say Rob Tompson is a big weekend winner. Basically took over a baseball team that was in shambles. It seemed he seemed to give them a spark
Yeah.
They were hitting the laces off the baseball, or the stitches off the baseball. Wrong balls. They were hitting the stitches off the baseball, and yeah, I mean Bryce caught fire. You still need Reese to do something because he just does nothing.
Yep.
So I think Tompson is the weekend winner.
I'm gonna hate to say this, and it has to do with hockey. Just I think the Rangers are probably going to be the winners of this week, just solely on the fact that they were not. They were at the near the Flyers, I think, at some point this season. They were. They looked like they were down and out, just like the
I,
Islanders and the Flyers were.
and
But then,
even 2 years ago, dude, they were just
I
they
know.
were they looked like they were in a horrible position, and the
Yeah,
Flyers looked like they were in the best position in the Metro, and then
dude, it's literally what the Celtics are now. That's what the Rangers are. If they win the series, that's exactly what it's going to be. And props to them. I hope they lose, but it is impressive that what they're doing because they're doing it against the team that just won the last 2 years. So
that is a funny comment. So Bobby says it's just more Hurts. It's not Hurts hate. It's Hurts
criticism,
criticism.
critiquing.
I I just think that we're too good in every other position. That's why I think we're going to win at least 10 games because we're just too good at every other position, Bobby.
Yeah,
And then Brandon says, I lost respect for Hurts when he put the boot on after the Tampa game when it was obvious he wasn't significantly hurt. He played bad because the Eagles couldn't run. Like, I'm not going to say anybody faked an injury, but I'm not going to say that thought didn't cross my mind. Like, and then that just fed fuel into the Hurts just legal team. Oh my God, he was hurt. Did you see that? Yeah, I saw it. It's okay. But yeah,
this is
that's
last season. This is
yeah,
might be
that's it.
his last season. Might be.
Oh, it won't be. He'll play slightly better than he played last year. We'll probably win 11 games, and I think we will win a playoff game.
But
I
you're
don't
not
think
going to give him a contract once his. You'll have to give him another year after. You're not going to give him a contract if he's playing like that.
no. And dude, to be
So,
completely honest, even if we win a playoff game, I got to see how he plays this entire season and in that playoff game to be able to say he is the guy.
yep. Yeah.
Because quarterbacks are getting paid a lot of money now.
Yeah. You can't go and throw him a shit ton like you threw Carson.
Yeah. I mean, the main reason for the Patriots' success all those years was Brady kept taking pay cuts because
Mhm.
of the weapons around him, whether it was Gronkowski, Moss, Edelman, Amendola, like all those guys. And then the
Mhm.
defense was just insane year in and
Yeah.
year out.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Uh-oh, here they come.
Oh.
Super
Bully McGuire coming in hot.
that's funny.
What was
That's
that
funny.
one saying that he said? Oh, gosh.
Who?
Bully McGuire.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, my gosh. There was a funny one.
Uh,
I'm going to rub some dirt in your eye. I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye. That's what it was.
that's gonna be Hertz's next excuse. There was dirt in his eye, so he couldn't see that second read because there's too much dirt in his eye.
I'm gonna rub some dirt in your eye.
Here we go. This, is this your burner?
Dirt. It's not mine, I swear. Oh gosh,
Carson
that's
was
funny.
straight chat. I'm about to pull
Oh
out the Carson
Jesus.
Wentz sippy cup.
Oh no.
Do I have any losers this week?
Oh
I mean, I had a solid weekend. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, whenever the Phillies sweep a weekend, you can't
that's a
really
good
find any
weekend.
losers, you know?
No.
And so
I don't know. Yeah, there really isn't
I'm
any.
trying to think out in the like sports world. I mean, per usual NBA. Like when I'm not
Yeah,
really watching the final. Like
yeah,
I'll turn it on here and there, but I
yeah,
got like better things to do, you know,
mhm,
than watch the
yeah,
NBA.
yeah,
But like all over Twitter or Instagram or like uh, Instagram comments, YouTube comments, it's always, oh, the refs won this game, no matter who won.
yeah.
Uh, It's always, oh, refs
That's
versus the
annoying.
Celtics, refs versus the
It is
Warriors, and I
annoying.
believe them because
Yeah,
the wild inconsistency of officiating is just absolutely
yeah,
atrocious. Like everybody
yep,
knows by now. I mean I refereed anywhere from third to eighth graders during the
mhm,
winter time, and like just and I know it's 1,000 times faster
mhm,
in that life, but you have the blessing of having replay review
mhm,
with you,
yep,
and the amount of calls that are either blown or just missed is just absolutely atrocious, and it's ruining the
yeah.
game.
And it's really like the refs have never been on the same page. You
Oh
have
no,
you have different crews out there sometimes, and one wants to let them play, and the other one doesn't want to let them play.
yeah,
So, like, you can't have that consistency on both sides when it comes to that. So that's that has to be something that NBA has to start looking out for more now because there has been games during the I don't want to say the Sixers, but during the whole playoff series with all the teams that have just been decided because the ref wants to have his 15 seconds of fame, you know?
yeah.
He gets to go on the little board and talking to the microphone, yeah. And
Hmm.
then they gotta tell him he's an idiot and that he was wrong, and then he has to overturn the call.
Yep, yep. NBA officiate, NBA in general is just absolutely terrible,
Yep.
just terrible. All right, let's hop on out of here before the Sports Hounds come on. Sports Hounds are coming on right now, so make sure you hop over to them. After the Sports Hounds tonight, you have Tom, Ryan, and DJ talking with you Sixers and Eagles, so make sure you check them. Mr. Wing, I wasn't even the one that said it. Mr. Wing just joining us. Guys, we do have a new time now, 5:45 every Monday. We are no longer here at 9:30, so make sure you check us out and check every show out here on A2D. We have a show every single night. Sometimes we have more than one show. So check us out. We're here. We're here to talk Philly sports with you. And we're
Yep.
even here to talk some WWE, here to talk with you just sports around the country in general. We have a soccer show.
Possibilities are endless, like
Yeah.
it says in the description that
Yep.
Jimmy does a great job on.
Oh, thank you. I'm a writer at heart.
Let's go.
Yeah,
English teacher. You
no, history teacher. All right,
can do it.
guys, have a great rest of your week. Just remember, Flight Zone always brought to you by Fan Up. Fan Up is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NBA contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today using the promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points. That is a $50 value. Also, summertime, June 6th now. Make sure you go
Yep.
visit Ocean City Boardwalk when you come down the shore. Make sure you check out All Campus. Make sure you check out the guys in the ramp booth, John Coyle and Rob Brinkman. They do a great job. All Campus giving away 20% off of everything in the store, including hats and shirts to all of the subscribers. Make sure you check them out as well. One last thing, BetUS. I would sign up for BetUS today, which is a leading online sportsbook that has been in the market for over 25 years. You can bet anywhere in the US on everything. Use the link below and sign up for a 125% sign up bonus. So do that right now and bet the Edmonton Oilers. And maybe parlay that with over on McDavid's shots on net.
Mhm.
Make yourself some money.
Yep.
That's my play for the day.
Book it with Jim.
Yep,
Book it
book
with
it with
Jimmy.
Jim.
That's free gave you free picks. Go download it.
Or lose it with Jim, depending on if I'm hot or cold. Right
They're
now, you're probably
they're
going to be
watching this
losing it with Jim.
podcast, so they're winning. It's all right. They've done their win.
All right, guys, have a great rest of your week. We will see you next week. Go Phils.